Hey there, YouTube. Six Shooter to bring you some updates on this Glock 30 SF. Let's just dive right on in. We got a clear chamber and empty magazine. I made some updates. I want to talk to you about them. Kind of blinged it out a little bit. Put some things on here. Some things are useless. First thing, Trijicon night sights. These are fantastic, and as soon as I put them on there, I just really like the Trijicons. I like the 3 dots. I've been putting them on most of mine. I got a couple of the excess big dots as well for some quick concealed carry. But one thing I want to talk about this is putting these on. Now this goes a little bit beyond get a sight pusher and all this stuff, and I'll tear in that in just a second. But it's mostly about the front sight. Ordered a stainless steel kit that changed out these the pins, give it a little bit different look. The takedown is a little slightly extended with the extended slide latch. I say that this one right here and this one right here, these are really nice. These things come out just a little bit more if your hands are sweaty, or you just get a better grip on that. And finally, the big one is the pyramid trigger system that I purchased and replaced that. And if you look deep inside of there, one of the differences is I'm going to go over these in detail each one, but the trigger's a little wider and it's aluminum. And if you can hear this clicking, you get more of a positive feel when you're actually activating the safety latch versus the original trigger. Now what I found, let me adjust my zoom here real quick, is when I was shooting the little safety nib, if I shot more than 50, 100 rounds, that little thing, it's a 45 you're shooting, that cuts into your finger pretty deep, at least after a while. And this one right here is, you notice, is nice and wide. It's got a nice, positive feel to it. This one's also adjustable. If you've ever played around with the Galloway Precisions, you'll notice that it's got set screws in the front and the back where you can adjust the take up and the pre-travel. So let me dive into these one by one. Oh, and last but not least, I put Cartman on the back. Just something I like. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to break this guy down, and I'm going to talk about this front sight if you guys have never done this before. One thing about this one, it's more like the Gen 4 style, is if you look in there, hopefully I'm going to get a good zoom in on this thing. Let me get the focus going. Oh, not there yet. You see that little screw? Oh, let me get my autofocus off. That little screw right there at the very end, nice and tight. That is what holds the front sight in. And look at that gap in the very front of it, or on the screen that you're looking at the very bottom. You cannot get a socket in there at all. I believe it's a 3/16. And they do sell special tools to get into that. The other part about it, and I'm going to show you that, but this underneath this slide is it's an oval. So it's not a round hole, it's an oval. And it's got a little bit of slop to it. So don't grab a hold of this and try to wrench it off and twist it from this direction. You're just gonna mess up your original sight. So definitely don't do that. And there's two things you can do. They've got a Glock tool you can order from some of these sites. There's the Weehaw nut driver, and that's the part number I got from KC Tools, and it looks like this. And I'll zoom in on it. And it's got nice thin walls on the side. And that's what you need to be able to get into to get that front sight off. Or I've got like a Sears Craftsman tool set, and I just took one of the nut drivers that I really never use, and let me take this focus off, and I just went walking around it with a Dremel tool, the grinder. I guess you could do it with a file, and literally just thin down the wall. And quite frankly, that worked just fine. No problem at all. It's not in there with a lot of torque. So that's the front sight. So yeah, you can order a specialty tool if you've got, and I believe that is 3/16. If you happen to have something, in your garage that you can just modify, do that too. That'll work just as fine. Let's take another look at some of these things. Let's. I did put a stainless steel spring set in it. The one that comes with it is fine. It's steel. I don't think it's really required or anything special. Like I said, this is one thing about Glocks is, man, the aftermarket stuff is endless. Let's dive into the trigger. This is what the original trigger looks like. And very, very simple to get to put it in. You're you can almost push them out. 1 pin, 2 pins, and 3 pins, and then just take a screwdriver and lift your locking assembly. Just this just lifts right out. Just put a screwdriver and pull it out, and this trigger system literally just slides right out, just like that. Very easy. One thing that I found when I was looking at different triggers to try out, and I just went with the Pyramid. I'm sure there's other brands that will work, but this one comes with the they call it the double diamond. Well, I believe they call it the double diamond, but it's kind of like the same as the Ghost trigger, the 3.5. And after looking at it for a bit, for those of you who haven't done it, what they really do is right here. See this little edge right here? Well, this holds the safety plunger, and when you pull the trigger, this part back here, it actually is forward. And if you can see that where it slides on it, that's how it works. So when you pull the trigger, this pushes back and it starts going at a downward angle. So this section right here is actually pushing against the striker bar back there, the silver thing. And as it goes down, by this point, that striker bar has pulled back, and then when this sear section lets go, the striker goes forward and fires your hits the primer. But by putting this section here, nice and close, this part right here, this metal bar, what that does is they put it at a little bit more of a steeper angle, and so this goes down quicker. So it's really easy to see it. You can take this apart. There's a spring in there, but you just pull this forward like that and literally just twist, and that's all it is to it. So that's a close-up look. And when you buy the double diamond or the Ghost, this is the little plate. You just lift this up and pull it right out and just change it. So you can do a quick upgrade to your trigger system by doing that. But I really wanted to get rid of that thin little nib. I mean, that was really cutting into me after about 100 rounds. So that is the trigger system. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. One thing about it is this kit, they have some that are $249, and it comes with a titanium striker. I didn't go with that one. I went with the one that did not come with a titanium striker. It was $179. Now it did come with this titanium plunger right there, and it comes with a reduced spring that goes in that guy, so it softens up everything. In addition, it comes with, I believe this is from the Glock store, it comes with a 2-pound, a 4-pound, and a 6-pound firing spring. And I ended up going with the 6-pound. I put the 4 in there originally, and it just, for competition, I get it, but I kind of wanted this as a carry weapon with a better trigger, and it was just on that edge of being a little too light. I didn't even try the 2-pound, but yeah, it was just a little too light for me, a little spooky to be carrying in a holster, and I just said, no, I'm not going to do that. Now, I did test this one with a Lyman puller, and it's sitting almost dead on at 3.5 pounds. I mean, I tested it about 5 or 6 times and took an average, and it's right at 3.5. See what else. What else I want to tell you guys? Oh yeah, if you do shooting enough, and for you Glock guys have been used to this. This is old hat, but for you guys that are trying to, like, how do you put in the kit or change this out? One thing that I wanted to point out is if you just take your finger and push this striker catch back. A guy broke it down on another YouTube, but they really didn't show what's inside of this thing really tight. So I'm gonna use a flashlight and zoom in really good. There is a plastic sleeve in there. If you see it, it's got that little dot on it. And what that does is it wraps around and actually comes around it and above the striker. And so, if I can show you with a light, the way you get this plate off is you actually put a, get a light on there, put like a screwdriver in this way and pull down and push that plastic piece down. Hold it like this. And when you push it down like that, this thing will just, you'll take the pressure off of this up here at the top. It looks like there's nothing in there, but I'm sorry, get the light in there, but there really is. And so let me get this thing back on focus again. So the trick is what I was showing you. You just push this in here and actually just like this and push it down. You want to push that plastic piece down. If I can show you a vision of it, that's kind of what you're doing. And just put your thumb here on the top and then push. You can see it. I'm already starting to take it off right there. You can see where there's the gap at the top, and just hold it down. Now right over here is the there's a spring inside of here. It won't go flying out on you, but it comes through here and holds actually the extractor. But it's a good idea to learn how to do that, to get in there, pull the striker out and clean it up a lot of times, because you get a lot of fouling inside of there after a couple 300 or 400 rounds, and you want to get that all cleaned out. But then when you're done, you just do the same principle, push this up, and that'll lock right back into place. Got some Falcon grips that really helps the gripping, the purchase on there, and yeah, they feel pretty good. I mean, they're a little thicker than the Talon, and a little bit more, I think, a little bit more aggressive than the Talon grips, and these are called the Falcons. So overall, oh, last but not least, let me put this thing together. Is one thing I had tried, and like I said, this is just me playing around. The gun really didn't need this. It's just, you know how it is. You just mess around with pistols. But I was going to try the extended mag, and the one I got looks like this. It's good looking. This is aluminum. This is plastic. It's got 2 long Allen head bolts. Let me zoom in here. It's got 2 Allen head bolts that go all the way through, and they're small. Well, the problem, and they're sending me some new ones, but the problem is, if you can see inside of there, is they stripped out pretty quick. And I went to nobody's got them. I can't find anybody online. Go to Hobbytown USA. The smallest they had is like 2 millimeters, and the diameter of the shaft is 1.25 millimeters. They're really, really tiny and hard to find. That's the problem, the first problem. The other part of it is it's pretty much the same as this guy, except it stands up. And I ended up filing this down a little bit because to me it just stood up way too far. I mean, I understand the extended mag, but the problem of it is, if with this nice customized holster. Well, if I put this in here, it's a nice good fit. Well, if you look right there, look where the normal mag release is, and then you put this guy on there. Well, it stands up about a 1/4 inch taller, and then comes back over here. It works. I mean, but I just said, that just really gets in the way. It really, and for $34, I don't really think it's worth it. So I think I'm gonna skip putting that on there. I kind of just want to do it for more of the bling look or whatever like that. But in reality, it's not very useful. So, but these extended takedowns, those are really nice. That little lip, how that sticks out. Once again, this was a kit I got for I think it was about $40 for all the stainless steel and the slide catch. But overall, I would say the trigger is amazing. I'll show you that real quick. Um, from the factory, it worked well, but it was tight, meaning that there was no slack. It was ready to go. Then the safety mechanisms were working, and I turned the front Allen head. You have to pull it out. I turned the Allen head about I'd say about half a turn, and I wanted just a little bit of that. Beforehand, it was already back. There was nothing. And once again, the safety mechanisms were in place, and they say, they set it up for these guns prior, and it's good to go ahead and try it as is from the factory, but it just felt a little discerning to me, and I wanted just a little bit of play. That's for me, but for you all, you can adjust it. But the nice thing about it is, once again, cleared mag, is if you look at this brake, it's nice and smooth, and it's tight. And I'll hold that, and this reset is really short. And then back again. Now, when I first started shooting, I tried to get used to this trigger. One time, I felt like a novice. I double fired because as I was getting used to it, I pulled the trigger, and then as it came back, it's such a light reset that I came back again, and sure enough, I went boom, boom twice. Now I had full control over it, but it shows that, hey, if you're carrying this as a concealed carry, you better be really careful about that. So, it happened at the very beginning. I was getting adjusted to it, and it was user error. It wasn't this trigger's fault. But the wider trigger feels so much better. If it was up to me, I would get a nice aluminum or stainless trigger with that one, or any 3.5 pound trigger bar. I think sometimes they don't mix and match well, at least from what I've heard. I don't have any experience on it, but I just said, well, if this one comes with everything in it and the kit, it's probably already made to work together. And they look like they have a nice coating on there. From what I understand, they put a nice finish on it so that it'll always kind of like self-lubricate. But anyway, you know, one thing about getting back to this whole Glock, like I said at the very beginning, I never really wanted one because it was everybody get a Glock, and all the fanboys just drove me crazy on it. But one thing I'll say is that this thing is like it's like Marshawn Lynch. It's a beast. I mean, when I say a beast, I mean it is it is a duty weapon. It's a beast. It can take a pounding. It can shoot all day. Uh, One thing I notice is when you pull the slide off and feel it, it's a lot heavier than the Springfield, the XCM that I've got. You can tell a weight difference that's there. But I think one thing Glock's going for it is aftermarket parts are everywhere. That much is true. You can upgrade them. I mean, you can turn one of these into a $3,000 gun with all the chroming and all the stuff that you want to do. Um, and this is probably about as far as I'll take it because it's just mostly fun for me to do. But I'd say overall, uh, it's a good gun. I like shooting it. I like shooting the XDM better. I'll be honest with you. Just if I give both of them their due diligence, the XDM is just more comfortable to shoot. It just feels better in the hand to me. I'm still getting a little bit of this little notch where my fingers come in like that. Even though I've worked on my purchase, as it comes down, it just pops right there, and the XDM doesn't do that. I don't know if you can see that or see it from this angle. I'd mentioned this in another video on it, but it just seems to get a little sore for me. But overall, with the changes I've done to it, particularly the trigger, I mean that really it really made this gun much better. I mean, it was already pretty good beforehand. The trigger was um, good. But this one being a little bit wider and stuff like that. This stuff, it adds a nice touch to it, but it's not really required. The only thing that if I definitely said do it is get this extended, um, you know, the little breakdown slots that you've got right here because it does make it a lot easier to grab a hold of, especially when it gets all fouled up or oily or something like that. It just comes out just a little bit more than the rest of them. Excuse me, than the originals. Let's see if I can get a close up of that. It just comes out a little bit more than the originals, and you just get a better grab on it. So anyway, um, that's my 2 cents on it. Moving on. Who knows what my next video will be? So be good, be safe, shoot well.